Hello, and welcome to the introductory webinar of Zoho Projects. I'm Shirin Shekhar, and I handle marketing at Zoho Projects. I'm going to be your host for this session. In this webinar, I will take you through the latest version of Zoho Projects called Projects 8. Zoho Projects, an advanced online project management tool, facilitates seamless business operations. Its capabilities extend to project planning, progress tracking, and efficient team collaboration, making it an essential asset for running any kind of business. With an impressive user base of 4 million, Zoho Projects has become a trusted choice for diverse industries. From software development to construction companies, marketing agencies to recruiting firms, businesses across various verticals have successfully executed numerous projects with the aid of Zoho Projects. Positioned as a comprehensive solution, Zoho Projects empowers users to streamline their workflows, ensuring effective project management and successful outcomes. So without any further ado, let's get this demo started. So after signing into Zoho Projects, you'll land on the home page that looks something like this. So there are two tabs on the home page, the Personal tab and the Portfolio tab. So the Personal tab has widgets like tasks, all tasks, expenses, all issues for your team members, and more, which can be rearranged and customized at any point, like this. The Portfolio tab, on the other hand, displays all the project activities in the form of widgets, like your project status report, project ownership report, project group report, and more. You'll also be able to add a filter to this and customize widgets here as well. Next, we move to the Feed module. So the Feed module resembles social media feeds and populates automated updates, keeping users informed about project activities and notifies you whenever users perform activities in the projects that you are associated with. Here, you have an option of adding a comment as well, or attaching files. Next, the Status tab. The Status tab consolidates user-generated updates across all associated projects, like this. And the Activity stream offers an audit trail of all your project activities, in this way. So both Feed and Status allows you to add comments and also @mention users, and also #mention tasks or bugs. Next is the Discuss module. The Discuss module is an internal collaboration platform that facilitates real-time communication within the project's portal using chat or audio-video options. Here, as you can see, you have options to discuss over chat or discuss through meeting. So in order to start a new conversation, click on New Conversation, select a project, give it a title, and click on Add. Next, we move to the Calendar module. The calendar helps organize project activities, meetings, events, and tasks in a secure and simple manner and helps manage work efficiently. All the activities are color-coded for easy identification. You also have options to color by projects, by module, or color by assignee. You can also sort the calendar by month, week, and day. In order to add an activity, click on Add Activity here. Choose your work item of your choice. Select a project. Give it a title. Give it a start and end date. You can also add comments here. Click on Save. Before creating a project, let us see how to add users to projects. Let's head over to Setup and Manage Users. So there are two types of users, portal users and client users. Portal users are your team members or your colleagues, and client users are your clients or customers. So let us see how to add users. So click on Add User here. Enter a valid user email. Assign a role or a profile. And I'll be touching upon these shortly. Enter your rate per hour, cost per hour, select a reporting manager, associate it with a project, and click on Add. Similar is the case for client users. Click on Add Client User. Enter a valid email ID, select a company, give it a profile, and enter the rest of the information. The user would receive an invitation email which they would have to accept in order to be added to the portal. These users can be grouped into teams for better accessibility, like this. Resources are also equipment that are a part of your project activities, which can be added and tracked, like this. Next, let's head over to Profile and Roles. A profile defines the permissions needed to access features in Zoho Projects, whereas role is the hierarchy that is followed in an organization. So under profiles, we have the contractor profile and the client profile that are default. You will be able to edit or clone these profiles at any point. Or you can also add completely new profiles by clicking on Add Profile here, giving it a name. You also have portal level permissions, project permissions, module permissions, and more that you can configure. And you can click on Add. Similarly, for roles, you'll be able to add a completely new role by clicking on Add Role here, giving it a name, and clicking on Save. Zoho Projects deploys the traditional waterfall methodology, which in essence consists of projects, milestones, task lists, tasks, and subtasks. When you complete a group of subtasks, you complete a task. When you complete a group of tasks, you complete a task list. And when you complete a group of task lists, you complete a milestone. A milestone is a progress marker, which is a short-term goal in the bigger picture. And task lists are merely to-do lists that consist of tasks and subtasks. Next, we head over to the projects module. Here, there's a list of all the active projects that you're a part of, along with some basic information, like the status, start date, end date, and more. We have two types of views here, the list view and the Gantt view, which I'll be touching upon shortly. We also have predefined views here, and you also have an option to create your own custom view. You can also manage your groups like this for easy accessibility. Now let us see how to create a new project. In order to create a new project, click on New Project here, and this will open up a page that displays more than 20 industry-specific templates of your choice, be it software or IT, construction, manufacturing, marketing, or more. There is something for everyone. So if you wish to use a specific template, click on Use Template. Allow it a few minutes to populate data, and there you have it, your new project. Now, if you wish to create a new project from scratch, click on Blank Projects here, and this will take you to the New Projects page. So you can enter a project name, you can assign it an owner, select a template, give it a start and end date. You can also make this a strict project. This means that all the work items associated with this project cannot go outside of the scheduled dates. You can enter a description here, give it a group name, and fill in all the additional details. You can also customize tabs for this project, like so. You can also make this project a private or a public project. Private project means only project users can view and access this project, whereas public project means portal users can only view, follow, and comment, whereas project users will have complete access. Now, you can associate this project with a layout, like here. And this layout is the standard layout. But if you wish to add some extra information, you can click on the Edit button here. And here, you will be able to add new fields of your choice. All you have to do is drag and drop a field of your choice, like this. Give it a name. Mark it mandatory if needed. Click on Add to Layout. If you wish to customize statuses, click on the gear icon here. Select Add Status. Give it a color, a name, rearrange if needed. Click on Apply Changes here. Once you're done with all your changes, you can click on Save Layout and the layout will be saved for you. You can also remove these fields anytime. Once you're done adding all your fields and saving the layout, you can fill in all the other details and save your project. Now this is a sample project called Donnelly Apartments Construction. By clicking on the Open Details page, you will find all the information pertaining to this project. The description, the project information, and additional details. Now, we're on the Dashboard tab. So Dashboard gives you an overview of all the project activities in the form of widgets, like the milestone status, the work item progress, budget status, issue status, and more. And these widgets are rearrangeable. You'll also be able to customize these widgets at any point. Now, let me show you the structure of this project. Let's head over to milestones. These are all the milestones that are a part of this project. Now, to create a milestone, click on Add Milestone here. Give it a name and flag this as internal or external. Internal means that the milestones will only be visible to project users. External means these milestones will be visible to both project and client users. Give it a start and end date, click on Add, and your milestone will be created. Click on any of these milestones, and this will take you to the task list associated with this milestone. Now, to create a new task list, click on Task List here, give it a name, click on Add. And after clicking on any of these task lists, you will be directed to the tasks, like this. Now let's see how to create a new task. Click on Add Task here, give it a name, and just like in projects, you'll be able to associate this task with the task layout, and you can edit it at any point. Add a description, you can drop files or add attachments here, associate it with the team, assign an owner, give it a start and end date, and fill in all the other basic information and click on Add. Now that we've created a task, your task would appear here in the Task tab. So these tasks can be grouped by milestones or by task list. You also have predefined views, and you can also create your own custom view. So there are three different types of views here: the list view, Gantt view, and Kanban view. The list view is the view that we're currently on. You also have the Automation tab that allows you to automate your work efficiently using workflow rules. I will be explaining about this in much more depth in the Automation module. You also have options to import or export your tasks. Now, one striking feature about the list view is that it represents a spreadsheet. So you can edit all your task information just over your keyboard, like this. Click on the title of the task, make your edits, click on Enter, and this is saved for you. Similarly, you can change the status, like this, click on Enter, and it's changed. Head over to Priority, click Enter, change it, click Enter again. Similarly, for the completion percentage, click on Enter, click on an appropriate completion percentage, and Enter. So it's that simple. You'll also be able to add new columns by clicking on Add Column here and add a column of your choice. And if needed, you can create a complete new custom field. You can also move these columns like this. And also, right-clicking on any of these columns will let you apply filter, insert a column before or after, like this. There you have it. You'll also be able to right-click on the cell here. That will open up a menu of additional functions that you'll be able to perform, like moving, cloning, creating tasks, adding subtasks, and more. Now, let us move on to the Gantt view. So a Gantt chart is a visual representation of your project in the form of color-coded Gantt bars that can be resized or moved. These bars are plotted against the timeline of the project. Each of these bars show date, owner, title, and overdue tasks that can be enabled or disabled as per your requirement. You can even view the Gantt chart in a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly format. Zoho Projects follows 4 types of dependencies. The first one is finish to start. The successor or dependent task can't begin until the predecessor or parent task is finished. For instance, in a journal publishing process, the self-review of a journal cannot begin until the draft is completed by the writer. Next is the start-to-start dependency. The successor or dependent task cannot begin until after the predecessor or parent task has started. For instance, as the peer review of the journal starts, the manager review can also be initiated. Third, the finish-to-finish dependency. A task cannot be completed until the other task is finished. For instance, error correction cannot be completed until the manager review is finished. Lastly, start-to-finish dependency. The successor or dependent task can be completed when the predecessor or parent task is about to begin. For instance, publishing the journal cannot be completed until the journal binding starts. Now, let us see how to add a task here in the Gantt chart. Click on Add Task here, give it a name, click on Enter, and your task should look something like this. And this bar can be moved up, resized as per your preference. And this will change the schedule dates. If needed, you can also add dependencies. So to add a dependency, all you have to do is click on the Gantt bar, simply drag and drop, and your dependency will be created. Clicking on the dependency here, you will be able to view the predecessor and successor tasks here. You can also change the dependency if needed. Set a lag time if required. Give it a start and end date. And click on Enter. You might have noticed that some of these tasks are shaded, and this represents the completion percentage of the task. You also have a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly view. And you also can view the legends over here that will show what each bar represents. If needed, you can expand the screen to show the complete Gantt chart for you. And by collapsing it, you will also have quick access if you need to make any edits or changes at any point. Next is the baseline, which tracks the schedule deviation from the original date of a work item. This is represented in the form of a black line. Slippage is the difference between the baseline and the current start date of the work item. End variance is the difference between the original end date and the current end date of the work item. Critical path is the longest stretch of dependent activities in a project, which cannot be delayed without delaying the whole project. By enabling critical paths, all the critical tasks turn red. Slack is the acceptable delay in a task without delaying the project as a whole. Tasks which do not have slack are called non-critical tasks. Next, let's move on to the Kanban view. Here, the tasks are depicted in the form of cards that are placed in these boards. You can sort these cards in the form of status, task list, priority, and percentage. So we're currently on priority. Again, we have predefined views here. You also have options that you can choose to display here, and you can enable or disable them anytime, displaying only the information that you require. You'll also be able to view these cards in the default view or the compact view, and you can also collapse subtasks if needed. You can also collapse all these columns and only show the ones that you require, like this. Now, instead of having to open the details page every time you want to make any edits or changes, all you have to do is simply drag and drop a card to the board of your preference. It's that simple. Now, let's open a task. Click on Open Details, and this will take you to the task detail page. Here, you will be able to see the associated team, the owner, status, the due date, start date, the priority, the duration, completion percentage. You'll also be able to set reminders based on the due date and based on a specific date. You can also set it to daily or on due date or particular days before the due date. Give it a time, you can notify users, click on Set Reminder. If this is a task that happens daily, weekly or monthly, you have an option of making it a recurring task. Simply click here, give it your preferred frequency, how often it should occur, when it should end. You also have options to retain comments or retain subtasks, and click on Save. You also have options to add comments like this. The subtask associated with this task will be displayed here. So will your log hours. And if there's any dependency associated with this task, it will be displayed over here. You will also be able to view the status timeline of this task, which is the time taken for the task to move from one status to another. Now, let's head over to the Issues tab. The Issues module is similar to the Task module with only a difference in the terminology, like severity instead of priority, reporter instead of owner, and so on. Next, we move on to the reports. Now, under the Reports module, we have the Resource Utilization report. These reports are great for managers when delegating work. It helps you view at a glance if someone is fully occupied, has time to spare, or is overloaded. This helps you to easily split work amongst your team to maintain a balance. Now, this is how the resource utilization will appear. You have the bar view, which we're currently on, and the heat map view. You can also select legends as per your preference, allocated hours, allocated percentage, available hours, or available percentage. You also have a daily, weekly, and monthly view. Now, green represents that the person is optimally allocated, whereas red represents that the person is over-allocated. Now, let's take the case of Chloe. Chloe, as you can see here, has a lot of time to spare, whereas Alicia over here seems to be over-allocated. All you have to do is drag and drop a task to Chloe, and there you go. Chloe is optimally allocated now. Next on the list is the plan versus actual report. These reports help you identify the work progress of the user based on the difference in their planned and actual hours. The difference between the planned and actual hours indicates the progress of the project. Planned hours are calculated based on the work hours allocated for the task assigned to the user, and actual hours are calculated based on the user's timesheet and timer entries. Now, this is what the plan versus actual report looks like. Let's take Alicia Jones for example. These are the tasks allocated to Alicia, And these are her planned hours. But Alicia has actually spent only 14 hours on all these tasks, which will be shown over here. Next, let's move on to the task reports. Here, you'll be able to find basic reports like status, milestone, priority, owner, and more. You'll even be able to change the chart types. In case you need to custom your task report, you can click here, change your parameters as per your requirement, and click on Apply. You'll also be able to export these reports in the form of PDF. Same goes for issue reports. If you've integrated with Zoho Sprints, you'll be able to view Agile reports. As you can see, you'll be able to view the velocity chart, the burn down chart, burn up chart, and so many more. Now, let's take a look at the features that help automate your work items in Zoho Projects. First in line here is the blueprint. Blueprints help you automate your workflows efficiently with the help of two key elements, status and transition. A status indicates what stage a task is in at a particular point in the workflow. A transition is a link between two statuses and allows a task to move from one status to another. Now, let's head over to the blueprint. Now, to access the blueprint, head over to the setup, go to task automation, and click on blueprint. Here, we have a sample blueprint. Now, let's take the example of a recruitment process. The boxes in white are the statuses, and the boxes in gray are transitions. So in a recruitment process, there are two possible outcomes at each stage. The candidate is either selected or rejected. For this example, let's take a scenario of a candidate being selected for the next round. Let's assume that the candidate has appeared for the written test. Now, there are two possible outcomes here. Either the candidate should have cleared the test or should have failed it. In this instance, the candidate has cleared the test. Now, this means that he is making a progression from one status to another. And once you change this transition, he will move on to the next status, that is the technical interview. So when this happens, you can configure what happens before, during, and after the transition. So when this happens, the task owner will be updated to the person who will be conducting the technical interview. All the transcripts will be sent to the person conducting the interview, and an email should be sent to the candidate consisting of all the details of the technical interview. These are just simple examples. You can do so much more, like update fields, use custom functions, and also use webhooks to automate your workflows. Now, let's move to the next automation feature, which is workflow rules. Workflow rules are an efficient way of managing tasks by triggering certain actions based on the set criteria. So, let's head over to workflow rules. Let's take this workflow rule as an example, high priority tasks. So we have a team that works only on high priority tasks to make sure that all the tasks are completed on time, and every time a high priority task is filed, you want all the 10 members of this team to be associated to the task directly. And also the end date of the task to be 7 days within the day of filing of the task. And you also want to set a reminder to notify all the 10 users every day until the task is finished. To set this up, you create a new workflow rule with the following criteria. So every time a new task is filed in the project called Donley Apartment Construction, and when the priority is set to high, the following actions would take place, which is the end of the task would automatically be updated to 7 days from the date of entry. Reminder would be associated to everyone who is responsible for the task, and the product engineering team responsible would be directly associated with the task. Now, this is a very simple example. Just like in the blueprint, you could do so much more, like update custom fields, trigger webhooks, custom functions, and even send email alerts. Next, let's move on to timesheets. So, timesheets are used to keep track of the time spent on various work items. There are multiple ways of logging in time in your timesheets. One of those ways is by using a global timer. So let's head to the global timer here. Click on a task of your choice. And click on Start here. Now this should start your global timer. If at all you're heading out for a break or stepping away from your desk, simply click on Pause. You can add notes and update it. And after you come back, you can resume the timer. Once you're done with your task, click on Stop. And all your details will be saved automatically. Just like that. Another way of adding time logs is by doing it manually. So this is how your timesheet report would look like. You could group it by user or group it by date, like this. We have a list view, grid view, and a calendar view. We're currently on the list view. Now, in order to add a time log, click on Add Time Log. Mention a task or an issue. Add in all the basic information and click on Add. If you want to bulk add, you can simply click on Weekly Time Log here, and this will allow you to bulk add your time logs. Now, let's head over to the Finance module. Here, you will be able to generate and record your invoices. Let's look at a sample invoice here. You can also create an invoice by clicking on Create Invoice here. Fill in all the details and click on Save. If you also want an invoice to be generated while submitting your time logs, that could also be possible. When you're submitting your timesheet, select Billable, and an invoice will be generated and could be sent to your client. Next, let's move on to Documents. So Documents is a central repository of all your important files and folders. You'll also be able to manage access right from here. Now, let's move to the Forums module. The Forums module allows you to start a discussion on a topic with your teams. Now, this is what a forum looks like. This is what a forum post looks like. You also have options to enter a comment, a question, or an answer. Now, to add a new forum post, click on New Forum Post here. Give it a title, a description, drop files or add attachments, set a category, flag it as internal or external. Select if you want this to be a Q&A, a sticky post, or an announcement. Choose who gets notified about this forum and click on Publish. And this is the Users module. You will be able to add users specifically to this project. We also have a global add option that lets you add any work item right from here. We also have the global search panel that lets you search all through the portal. Zoho's secret sauce for success has always been its tight integrations with its in-house and third-party applications. With Zoho Projects, it's no different. Zoho Projects integrates with a wide range of third-party and in-house applications. The apps that you're using currently would most likely be integrated with Zoho Projects. And what's more, you get to modify your display preferences. We have the solid, light, image, and art theme. And you also get to choose between the day and night mode. You can also change the font family and the font size. If you're looking for some help, you can head over to our help section and you can find all our help resources right here. If you wish to carry your projects on the go, you are free to install our mobile apps. You can also install our browser extensions. That brings us to the end. I hope that this webinar was informative. Please feel free to explore all the features at your convenience and let us know if you have any feedback. If you need any assistance, please email us at support@zohoprojects.com or @mention us on Twitter. Thank you, and here's to many happy projects.